Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the tank review of the M26 Pershing. The M26 Pershing is a Tier 4 American medium tank with a battle rating of 6.3 both in arcade and realistic. It's equipped with a 90mm M3 cannon with 70 shots in total and just one 7.62 coaxial machine gun. I think this is one of the most enjoyable medium tanks in the American line because it basically is a T-34-85 with 10 degrees of gun depression and a good reverse speed. And that basically sets the tone for the playstyle for it. If you want a relatively quick mobile medium tank with a really punchy gun with a decent selection of ammunition, I think this is the tank to go. And the battle rating of 6.3 actually means that when you are not bottom tier, but top tier or let's say mid tier, if that's a thing, you can have really good games. Your gun is really good, but has a relatively long reload for a medium tank gun. However, overall, I think it actually shows as well in the statistics good tank. And for 70 deaths, I gained 437 kills. Now, if you think about that, that's nearly better than a 1-to-6 kill to death ratio. That tells you a lot. And yeah, this comes from the overall package. Also, the armor on this tank is something you shouldn't rely on. But sometimes, when you are working ridgelines, the shape of the turret can create funny bounces. But let's get on with the proper tank review. So, let's get first into the hull armor, and we see that here the front is 100mm thick, sloped backwards at 43 degrees, creating an effective thickness of 134mm. But you have also this machine gun port, which is kind of a weak spot. The lower plate differs in its effective thickness from 143mm to 90mm. And the side armor is 76mm at the front, but at the engine area just 50mm. So that's actually an area where AAA can potentially penetrate you. Then the turret from the front is, we have this shield which is 114mm thick, but it has a curve, and it reaches here at this area when somebody is hitting you, also here on the side, to up to drastic angles where you can have up to 200mm or even more. So that can create bounces. The turret cheeks, so to speak, are heavily angled, so 100mm thick, but they are a bit backwards, so you mostly will create bounces. The cupola is also a target, but it's heavily angled, and enemy tanks usually prefer the hull to shoot at or the turret front. Yeah, the side of the turret is also not too bad, 76.2mm. Also the rear and of the hull is 50mm thick. Overall, the armor remembers me in its overall experience, shape or form of a tiger, but the tiger has a lower battle rating of 5.7. And do not rely on angling with this tank. It doesn't work convincingly in every situation for me with the tiger. And you should, on this tank, rely on its mobility. And here also this area, it's surprising in how often I was over penetrated here. Yeah, but let's have a look into the inside, and we can see that we have a 5-membered crew. Here we have the machine gunner, the driver, the loader, the gunner, and the commander. Also, we can see a lot of ammunition in the center of the tank, and also this 10 rounds of ammunition in the ready rack next to the gun. Little tip here: get them out. Those ammunition racks here you really cannot properly empty, but this in the turret you definitely should take out. So maximum ammunition load out -10. You might even take out more ammunition, but the effect is neglectable. Also, we have here the engine, the fuel tanks, the radiator, and the transmission in the back. So that's nice. So when you get shot in the front by something that just takes out your driver, in a lot of other tanks, especially German tanks, it also takes out the transmission. In this tank, you don't have to fear that. So, also we have horsepower to ton ratio here in arcade of over 20 horsepower, nearly 25 horsepower per ton. And that's interesting. Because you will often see the maximum speed of 45 kilometers an hour. This is not blisteringly fast, but it's okay-ish. Much more interesting is the reverse speed. This has a really good reverse speed. Now, if you're used to Panthers or to the British tanks, up until the Carnarvon or the Tortoise or the Centurion Mark III, you are also not used to having a good reverse gear. And this tank really gives it all. It is a peekaboo tank. You take out your turret and take the shot, and then get back into cover. Now, what are we actually talking about when we're saying taking the shot? Well, let's have a look at the modifications. First, you get the stock shell, the T-33 shot, which is a simple solid shot with a 189 millimeters of penetration. That's barely, and in practice just theoretically, get sober. That's not really reliable, able to penetrate the turret front of an Henschel King Tiger. Also, the damage output is not too great. The real winning shell is this M82 shot. This is a shell that I like. You get it on the Super Hellcat if you bought it, or the M36 GMC. This is a really good shell. It packs a really good punch, 137 grams of TNT equivalent. That's more than you get in the 88, and you really feel it. In damage output. But your penetration drops to 165 millimeters. So what are you going to use against King Tigers or potentially also Ferdinands? Well, you try to avoid them in frontal attacks, but if you have to take the shot, use the M304 shell. 264 millimeters of APCR penetration. It is again just APCR, but it works fine against sloped armor. And for the killing shot, you should turn around and flank the enemy. The M71 shell is not worth mentioning. 13 millimeters. That's just good enough for lightly armored AAA vehicles. Yeah. Also, as I have mentioned, when we look at the crew, the tank loader manages it to get down to 9.1 at best for an ace crew. I have currently a 9.65 second reload time, so effectively 10 seconds, and that is around about the reload rate of a long 88, and so you know what to expect. It's a bit longer, in fact. Yeah. And also you shouldn't try to deal or to trade shots with T-34-85s, or you should try to avoid any kind of trading. So then let's talk about the modules. Now this tank is all about its actually side shots. So, and especially from, which is kind of unusual, from the side. So precision is king. You often get detracked or attacked by aircraft in arcade. So the following order is parts: M82 shots, fire prevention system, and then I would actually go for adjustment of fire. This shell is not that important. The crew replenishment system is something you really do not need that often because you mostly die to the first shell. Elevation mechanism and artillery support are also good, but the mobility is also very important. Like the engine gives you the extra grunt, and you should research that ASAP before you go on with the transmission and the filters, the tracks, suspension, and brake system. And after then, you can research the APCR shell. But again, it's not that urgent. It's not useless, but for my playstyle, it's not really important. So, that's basically it. Let's get on with some short gameplay. And let's go right into the action. Now, this is Mostark, and I'm shooting here a T-44. One shell right through the driver's spotting equipment. So, I actually began to record this battle, in mid-battle I actually held off the enemy advance by myself. As you can see, I'm here poking the ridgeline, don't give the enemy a clear shot. That was luck that he donked the shot. My return shot kills all his crew except one, but he didn't have the crew replenishment equipment, obviously. So he was a one-shot, dropping artillery strike on the rest of on the remaining two T-34s, killing the one that was distracted. Situational awareness is very good to have, and the last one gets 2 shots into his turret side from the rest of my team. My team supported me here with excellent long-range fire, like I do on this IS-2. Nice kill. Oh, finally space to breathe. And now this is the part where I try my luck with long range shots. And that was an unlucky bounce on the front upper plate of a Soviet tank destroyer, heavily angled. It bounced. I think this gun is really good, and again, it's very similar to the short 88 on which you will find on the Tiger H1, Tiger E, the VK4501P, and the Porsche Tiger. Yeah. And here I use the DO 217, my bomber that I earned, to bomb out this T-44 and maybe lay an egg into the front of this IS-4. But I just get the IS-2. Fair enough. Let's move on. And the Ki 84 bailed out. I tried a pot shot, but it didn't connect. Sadly, no love. Moving on, I need to go into the low ground. And then I actually see this opportunity. He doesn't shoot at me. I aim, but sadly just hit the upper plate. He still hasn't recognized that he got shot from this direction, so after I get rid of this friendly Russian tank, I aim properly, and there we go. Again, he doesn't seem to have the crew replenishment module. What a shame. And this is where this tank excels as a flanking medium, and it really does the job. I aim, shoot, and this shell is really good. That's my 9th kill, by the way. Granted, one by an aircraft and one aircraft also that bailed out. And this is where our team really used the advantage I gave to them. I conquered this area, yeah, or held off the enemy advance. We killed the enemy advance, and sadly I missed the shot on the Panther D. He was too fast for my shell. So yeah, then this ISU 122 dunks the shot into the ground in front of me. Yeah, so moving forwards and backwards and keep moving with this tank. This is some sort of a fat Hellcat with a bigger gun. But it's not quite a super Hellcat, although it does have a very similar performing gun, if not the same gun. Not quite sure. So, and there I saw on the radar there is something behind the rock, and I poke around. Let's see what it is. T-44. He gets distracted by my crew members. Sadly, I don't kill this guy. He does have the crew replenishment module, so he is about to get a crew member back. But a shot in the back is all it takes from a team member to finish him off. So now it's just all about, you know, getting the last few kills. This is why I decided not to cap. It actually costs me the first place, it seems like. So I got out of the way of this ISU 152. The armor wouldn't have saved me from that shell. There is the IS-1. He got distracted, and again, I, for some bizarre reason, can't penetrate the IS-2 there. What a shame. It would have been a one-shot for sure. When you penetrate at that area, an IS-2, it's nearly guaranteed to be a one-shot. I can't get a shot at his T-34, so I try to poke out, and again, the shell just, you know, gets held back by a machine gun. Strong Soviet machine gun. Another shell, and again the little gun mantle holds back my shell. Even if you shoot there with the Yak Tiger, the shell doesn't go through. And sadly, that shell was there where it couldn't really get the killing power. Hit too much in the back. If I would have hit the crew compartment, dead center, that would have been a kill. So, I think that's it for this battle. Let's have a look at the post-battle result screens. Yeah, after this shell also gets absorbed by a fat gun mantle. So, mission accomplished. Survivor and best squads, unsurprisingly. And there we can see that for 1 aircraft kill and 8 destroyed tanks and 6 assists, I got nearly 60,000 silver lines and 4,562 research points, nearly finishing off the crew replenishment module. I'm currently going through to spade all the tanks. So, yeah, really good match. And it proves once again that this tank is capable of racking up the kills. So, and yeah, it's a long way to the M60. And I was just second with 2,843 score points. And this guy just had 1 cap more than I had. Yeah, that's it for today's tank review. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if it was helpful for you. Give this video a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. Tell your friends about it. And see you next time on the battlefield.